So one of the things that I think interests people a lot is how this whole thing got started. And can you tell us how you found Laura's memoirs and how that whole thing played out?
Well, it didn't start with finding Laura's memoirs. It started back in the 1970s when I was a puppeteer, and we were doing plays that represented folk tales from Louisiana, folk tales that were either written in Louisiana or came to Louisiana from different places. So I was working with a couple of my friends, one of whom was an incredible teacher, and we got a grant from the Endowment for the Arts to teach children about the ethnic roots of Louisiana, because we had, Lord, 50 or so different ethnic groups that came to Louisiana to make up our population. We we started finding out what was written in Louisiana from the Native Indians, the slaves, the Portuguese, the French, the Cajuns, the Spanish, the Filipinos, everybody who came to Louisiana, and we wanted to teach these to children. Well, we kept coming up with, in our searches, footnotes that said this story came from a former slave in Vacherie, Louisiana. This is Vacherie, out in the middle of nowhere. Well, after this footnote keeps appearing 40 or 50 times, you're saying what's going on in Vacherie. And what had happened, a young man who lived just right down the road, Mr. Alcee Forche, who later became the Dean of Humanities at Tulane University, as a young man went around collecting stories from the former slaves on these sugarcane plantations. And he wrote them down. And he would later become president of the American Folklore Society and publish them. And those are the stories that would later be known throughout the English-speaking world as the tales of Br'er Rabbit. In Louisiana, they were known as, not Br'er Rabbit, but Compère Lapin. And those stories came in the 1720s to Louisiana from the first slaves who got off the ships from Senegal. Mm-hmm. In Senegal, Compère Lapin is called Luc le Lièvre. And
he's a hare, and so he transforms into a rabbit in Louisiana.
Right. A lot of things transferred because the stories didn't make sense if you're talking about African animals, and you have to transfer to animals that people know here. But they're wonderful stories, and we knew that it happened here, that they were written down on this and neighboring plantations by Mr. Forche. So we knew that, and when we realized that there was a chance to save this place, we saved it, not because of this house that we're sitting in front of, but because of the slave cabins that were built in the 1840s and are still standing. And we said, wow, this is where this happened. Let's not tear them down. There are very few slave cabins left in the United States. We said, we still have the slave cabins here. Let's save this treasure of American heritage that doesn't exist anywhere else in the United States, because this is where it happened.